What's up, amigos? Today we have the aerodynamics of someone going down a slide. So we have a massive slide here, really big, and then an adult going down as well. And it's pretty cool. These streamlines show where the flow is going from left to right, or in blue to red, it's around 25 meters per second. Interestingly, over the front little bit of the slide, there's a bit of flow separation, and that's because the front little lip is quite sharp. So the flow goes over there, and then it has to separate, and then there's a tiny little recirculation zone that zips out underneath. Now, interestingly as well, I did a simulation a couple months ago over a person falling down the stairs, and it's a fairly similar setup. But the difference with this is that there isn't as much flow escaping around the side of the slide, it seems, compared to the other simulation. There was still some there as well, but there's a little bit less here, it seems. Also, the woman going down the slide, she doesn't seem to have too much of a flow separating over it because of the stance that the pose that she's selected. So she's a seasoned slider. And let's move on to the next simulation. And this is the Y plane going through the slide with the woman going down there. And again, we can contrast this to the stairs, the person falling down the stairs from a couple months ago. And again, behind the slide, there isn't nearly as much of a wake. Like there's still quite a big wake, but it's not nearly as great. And over the ladder going up to the top of the slide, each of the rungs has a small little wake behind it. And then interestingly, at the bottom rung, between the bottom rung and the ground, there's a lot of flow acceleration there. So I'm thinking that the flow that is going around behind the slide, it has to really go underneath this part quite a lot. Like a lot of it's being funneled around there and has to accelerate to get through. Whereas the rest of the air going through the other rungs, for some reason, they're much slower. And her pose, it's all good except for the left leg being popped up. That increases the weight quite a lot. So for those of you who are also seasoned sliders, pop that left leg down as well and make yourself a bit more streamlined. You go down the slide faster. And now we have animated streamlines, and this is actually really cool because it shows us one really interesting, or two interesting features actually, a few actually, but let's cover the first one I was thinking. So the air heading onto the front of the slide, it doesn't get redirected too much until it starts like pretty much impacting the slide. So there's not a lot of upstream flow being affected by the downstream part of the slide. So you can see like these streamlines, they go, and then just before they hit the slide, they just start popping up a little bit. So it's not affecting the flow too much. Behind the slide, you can see that all these streamlines are really twirling up and going in a spiral fashion. That's pretty cool. And then even further downstream from the slide, you can see that there's a lot of flow going up at an angle. But the further you get to the ground, the less of an angle this flow is. So it's sort of like there's the top part of the wake just pops up for some reason, whereas the bottom part stays fairly close to the ground. So that's the end of the simulation. Make sure to like and subscribe, and check out the Atmosphere Hawk to make your experiments more accurate by 2 to 4% and your CFD more accurate as well. Link in the description. Peace out, amigos.